eyeball read try. And it's not always possible, and it sounds really glib to say it, but I've always tried to see actually being in a wheelchair as a bit of an asset, because of the experience I've had and the challenges I've had. You come to realise being disabled that actually if you walk into a room in any professional capacity or personal capacity, you immediately have to outdo people's expectations of you.
Welcome to Curious Chats and Kind Acts, the podcast that celebrates difference, kindness, and the little things we can all do to make our world a better place. Join me, your host, Sonia, co-founder of the Axe charity, for some open, authentic and fun conversations with lots of interesting, extraordinary, everyday people who are all a little bit different. Prepare to have your curiosity piqued and your heart warmed as we explore the ways we can all make a difference in the world, no matter how small. So get ready to be inspired, uplifted and motivated to be the kindest version of yourself. Let's make the world a kinder place, one conversation at a time. Hello, and welcome to Curious Chats and Kind Acts. How are you? In this episode, I speak to Joe, who I've known for years. We met working in prisons together, setting up mentoring and employment support projects. And the friendships continued from there, really. Now, Joe recently spent some time in hospital with sepsis and he nearly died. So we talk about Joe living his best life with this disability and more recently needing support from carers and how that has impacted his life. We chat about the impact of Joe being in a wheelchair and he's really great at explaining that he tries to see us being in a wheelchair as an asset and how it's fundamental to who he is, but also the challenges that come along with that, like being pushed without being asked. Anyway, I hope you really enjoy this episode.
It's funny because obviously stated in the wheelchair as well. Early on in our relationship, we talked about if we weren't both in a wheelchair, would we be together? Fundamentally, I think I would be a different person. Hopefully, I would still have some of the good bits that we've got. But I don't think I'd be quite the same. It's funny, isn't it? You're sort of governed by your personal circumstances and whatever barriers that you face or assets that you've got. And actually, eyeball read try. And it's not always possible. And it sounds really glib to say it, but I've always tried to see actually being in a wheelchair as a bit of an asset, because of the experience I've had and the challenges I've had. You come to realise being disabled that actually if you walk into a room in any professional capacity or personal capacity, you immediately have to outdo people's expectations of you. But it's just having some kind of presence and trying to, without sounding too cheesy, be the best version of yourself that day.
That's quite hard though, because I'm not going to lie, there's some days where I don't.
No, it's absolutely hard. Sometimes when you have to, especially doing the work that I do, your job is to sort of be a good communicator and be around people and understand people and listen to people and all that kind of stuff. And that's hard. When you're not really feeling it yourself. And certainly, I've had some health challenges over the last year, and that's been really tough because actually, you do become confined by it a little bit in your own head, especially, and you lose a bit of the motivation, I guess, to sort of get out there. It's so easy, I think, as a disabled person to find yourself stuck in the house all day, not really going out, not really seeing people, not connecting to people, not doing anything. And I really understand that now, I think, over the last 18 months, because I think I did get into a bit of a pattern of doing that, but there's something about connecting with people.
So there's been times where you've not let the fact that you're disabled stop you from doing the things that you want to do. An example of that is going abroad for work.
Yeah.
And that was grim at times because you had to. I remember they tried to get you on this. I don't know what it was. Like they wanted to strap you in.
The Hannibal Lecter.
The Hannibal Lecter. You were just like, I'm not doing it. It's like, I'm not doing it. And you literally, I don't know, you got yourself off the plane on your arse, I think. I can't remember what you did. But I'm like, I'm not going on that. I can do it. And it's like, I'm not letting this stop me, but equally I'm not letting you not treat me like a human. And I think that was a really valuable lesson for the people We're trying to not treat you like a human.
And it's got a lot better. And to be honest, I've accepted the Hannibal Lecter chair as part of getting on the plane, and it makes life easier, actually. I'm not as stubborn, perhaps, as I once was. That goes back to how Mum and Dad and my brothers brought me up, you know. I was not to miss out on anything unless I chose not to the point where, you know, my brothers were playing football in the backyard. It was, you get in goal and we'll blast the ball as hard as we can again. You don't get away with doing that. And that sounds like a silly example, but it's true. My mum and dad were very, very outspoken about me going to mainstream school, for example, and taking part in mainstream activities as much as I possibly could. And I suppose that was just inbuilt in me from a very young age, that actually you might have to do things differently, but you do it anyway. You don't just, and I hate to use the phrase, but use being in a wheelchair as an excuse for not doing it.
I think the other wonderful example is that you are actually a better dancer than me.
That isn't hard, but and my dancing days are probably over. But we did go night clubbing, and we did dance the night away. Absolutely, absolutely, and that was all part of it. And again, it's owing a lot to my parents and my family. To be honest, it is about them not pushing me so much, not pushing me out and going and say, right, you've got to go night clubbing, but also just going, yeah, okay, when you're a teenager, of course you're going to want to go out to the pub and get drunk and, you know, do all those things and go to university and, oh, by the way, that's 200 miles away, so you can't just live at home. You've got to go and live on your own and be independent and all that kind of stuff. And it was weird. It was never a question at the time for me about moving away 200 miles away. But actually, if you think about it, now that we're older and we've got kids in our lives and all that kind of stuff, if one of the kids said to me now, right, I'm going to university and I'm going to go 250 miles away, so I can't come home at weekends, you can't just pop over and see if I'm all right, I would be going, no, you know. Why would you want to do that? Why don't you just go up the road for an hour away?
And do you think, I'd say one of your superpowers is that you're really good at being vulnerable?
Yeah.
And do you think that is because you've kind of had to be?
Yes, absolutely. I've got better at it over the years as well. You know, I think when you're younger, you're very proud and you're very fiercely independent, wouldn't want anyone to do anything for me. And actually, as I've got older, that's mellowed and I've gone, you know what, that's easier. It makes life easier. If you're just a bit like, don't expect it, but you're happy for people to help. I can go into Liverpool now, and I guarantee, if I'm trying to get a chair out or I'm trying to get out of the car, at least 3 people will stop and say, you're right, can I help you? And I can also almost guarantee that if I ask somebody to help, unless they physically can't do it themselves, they will.
Yeah.
And that's a great knowledge to have about your fellow community members and people, isn't it? You know, the fact that you know that actually the majority of people, doesn't matter who they are either, to be honest. It could be like little kids who people write off, and, you know, and that's what working in prisons taught me. I felt really safe working in prison. Didn't matter whether I was with category A prisoners or young kids or whatever. It was fine. There was a sort of, I'll look after you.
Yeah. It's almost like, so that is extreme kindness, isn't it? It's just constant kindness that you see. You see kindness every day.
Yeah.
Because, well, there's 2 things there. First of all, there's an opportunity, quite an obvious opportunity for people to help, but then you're also willing to accept the help. And I think that's the hard thing, isn't it? A lot of people, you wouldn't even ask because...
I think I've never been that person, that salesperson who wants to make people to feel uncomfortable with them offering to help. And I've never got that. Okay, I've had times when I've been patronised, and that isn't nice. Being patted on the head, or people just assuming that you're lost because you're looking for somebody, or you're waiting outside a shop for more than 10 minutes because somebody's late to meet you. That's not kindness. But you have to take that, I suppose, alongside the genuineness of people and the kindness of people.
What can people do? And I know this is hard to answer because you are you, but it's kind of like, I want to be kind to people, but I don't want to be patronising. Mm-hmm. So how do you make sure you get that right?
Goes back to doing with and doing for, doesn't it?
Right.
And doing to. If you're doing it with somebody's blessing or for somebody, that's kind of okay. But if you just do something, so if somebody just sees me and goes, right, you need help to do this, or I'll start pushing you straight away, which, happens quite a lot. Yeah, it has done. If you're going up a hill and you're struggling, and quite often people will just grab the back of you and say, come on, let me give you a hand. Most of the time it's well-meaning, and that's, I suppose, where I'm coming from. In my younger days, I would have gone, no, get off, I don't want to be pushed. And I still have that tendency to want to say that.
Yeah.
But also part of me is to learn, actually, this is going to be fine.
Yeah. Take the rest.
Take the rest.
Do you know what? I got a flat tyre. I was out on a little bike ride. I got a flat tyre. I was ever so proud. I changed my own flat tyre. Wow. I know. And then as I went to pedal off, it popped again. Wow. So I'd clearly not done a good job. So I did have another spare inch tube, but then some cyclists came past, and the fiercely independent woman in me was like, I can do this. But then the knackered, really cold human was like, oh, I'd love some help. It's like this feminism went out the window.
Absolutely. And perhaps we all do that more as we get older.
Yeah.
So going back to your question though, I would always just say, if you see somebody who you think might need a help, just ask them. Worst, all you're going to get is somebody being a bit arsey and a bit, no, I don't.
Yeah, simple. Just have an open conversation with someone, which is how we can all be kinder.
I think you've got to be guided by them then. So if they say, no, I don't, then they don't.
Joe has been having the wonderful support of carers coming in and supporting his life over the last year or so. So I asked him about his caring experience.
I think it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. I honestly do, and I've got a massive respect for all the carers who come into me. The individuals who are doing it are genuinely good people. They want to do it. But actually the system that they work in, and often, unfortunately, the companies they work for aren't really that great. So, for example, I get 2 carers a day, 4 times a day, help me to get up in the morning, help me to get to bed at night. They get paid 25 minutes or half an hour to do that. It doesn't matter whether I'm really poorly and they have to do everything for me, or whether I'm on a good day and I can do quite a lot for myself and blah, blah, blah. And they get 30 minutes to do that. So if I fall or whatever and they have to call an ambulance, they have to ring and stay with me until the ambulance comes. They don't get paid for that. If they're off sick, they don't get sick pay. They're on the very basic terms and conditions, pretty bog standard pay for doing a really tricky job, going into people's homes, into their families, and actually being respectful, being professional enough to be able to do the job, but also being able to understand the family dynamics. It's an incredibly difficult job. I think you have to be very skilled people-wise and very person-centred. And I think the system, unfortunately, doesn't always allow people to be that way, because they're always thinking, you've got to get to me on the job, and you're going to be behind, all those kind of things. And actually, people that work with me do it in a very, very good way. For me, the worst bit is the flexibility of the system. So my morning call can start from 8 o'clock, but can go through to 10, 11 o'clock. So if something happens, or the carers start a bit later because they've got their own childcare provision or whatever that might be, or their own personal circumstances, because all, got families and got kids, or, got care responsibilities at home. I could be waiting till 9:30, 10 which obviously if you're working isn't great. Equally, if I need a tea time call, so what I often do these days is sort of miss out one in the day or the evening. So if I stay at home to lunch, then sort of work late, or come into the office late, or otherwise I will have to leave by about 4ish in order to make sure that I'm home for the carers. And then obviously bedtime starts from 7:30 onwards. So the latest I get into bed is about 9 o'clock-ish, 9:30 maybe on a really good day. But the earliest it can be is about 7:30. So actually that sort of family life time is really tricky in the evenings. And that's the bit I struggle with the most, is just trying to fit in life around it, really. You constantly have to think, do I need to be back at this time of the day, or what am I going to do if I miss it? Or that takes a lot of humility, I think.
And is there no option for them to come later?
No.
And that's just the system, and
just the system. And why would they? They've got homes to go to do. They're on a round almost. So even if they need me to last, really and truly, that's going to be 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So basically, you sat in waiting for the carer to come and get you up and dressed, and then you're 2 o'clock to work. But that could be anywhere. You're getting in at 9, you're getting in at 11.
Yeah. Latest has been is about 11, but that's when some big bouts happen.
Yeah.
One of them's gone off sick at the last minute, or.
And what if you've got a 2 o'clock meeting?
I don't have one anymore. If I've got an early one, and it's online, I'll do it at home.
Right, okay. Yeah. But it affects your whole work life, doesn't it? It's like...
So I have done Zoom calls now without the camera on, where I've just been getting dressed, or I've been getting out of bed, or...
Yeah.
I try not to do that, because obviously it's not the most professional way to do things, but if I need to, then I can do that. It's just about another way of working. And to be fair to the carers, I'm probably, the youngest, or one of the youngest of the people that they care for.
Yeah.
So it poses them different challenges as well,
So you'll get into work whatever time you do, but then you've got to leave by a certain time so that you can get home to get your next
So normally my daytime routine, I wake up about 7:30 when the kids wake up, whenever. They drive into the room, wake us up. And this is the big thing, I used to be the first up in our house, so I used to get the kids up and I used to have a little time to myself, have a coffee and, whatever. And then, the house would start around me. That's completely turned on its head now. The house starts around me and I'm in bed.
Yeah.
It's just a bit weird. So I normally check my emails and start answering emails around 8:30. If I'm waiting and I'm waiting in bed, I'll sort of get the iPad and the laptop and start thinking about work earlier.
Yeah.
But no, I don't get into work as such wherever I need to be till about 10. Morning routines are not the same as they used to be. And nighttime routines are equally not the same. I'm really lucky that I've got a job where I can be flexible.
Yeah.
As long as I get the work done, it's not so much of an issue.
Yeah.
If I had to be in 9 to 5, I would struggle.
Massive one.
In some ways, night times are worse.
Yeah.
I get home 5:30 most days. Then carers will turn up at 5:30, 6-ish. That gives us probably an hour and a half to 2 hours to do tea and bedtime for kids, and enough time for me to get into bed. Quite often, I have to eat my dinner in bed, which is fine for some people. I personally don't enjoy it particularly.
Yeah. So the carer comes in at 5:30, 6. Is that to help with tea and stuff?
No, help you get on the loo off the loo and stuff.
Right, okay. And then they'll come back again at between 7 and 9.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So what happens if you need the loo at 4?
Well, that's a good question.
It's like...
I can't go to the loo now. No, I couldn't when I first came out of hospital. It was really, really important.
Yeah.
But I can now transfer. So if I need to live here and I'm desperate, I'll go
Right.
on there.
But you'll pretty much try and wait till 5 o'clock.
I'll pretty much plan me.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're no good for peanut bladder here. And so basically, do you just have you got a big telly in your bedroom, and do the kids come and sit on the bed with you and you watch telly together? Or?
Well, Stacey always comes at the same time, so we've got a telly in the room now. Kids come in and out. They're normally going to bed about the same time anyway, so it's not so much of an issue.
And is this going to improve? So is it temporary or is it?
It's funny, isn't it? Because I would like it to improve. I'd like it that I had a bit more flexibility, and it has. I have got a little bit more flexibility. So Christmas, for example, we decided that we would for the Christmas day Stacey would help me get in, and Simon would help me get into bed.
Yeah.
And therefore we didn't need to go to bed at 8 o'clock. So the odd day, especially if I'm having a good day, that's fine. It's really ironic. So our last two wedding anniversaries, I've ended up in hospital. Stacey thinks I don't want to buy a dinner, but I'm persuaded that that's not the case. So what happened on our last anniversary was I got up in the morning. We were planning to only go out for lunch. We were going to take my mum and brother out to say thanks to them because they've been really good to us, and especially my brother had been like a rock. Got up in the morning, got dressed, all ready to go. Said was going to go after the lunchtime call, so the carers were going to come in at lunchtime, sort me out, and then I was going to go off for the afternoon and possibly miss tea time call. When they arrived, I had a really upset stomach, and I had blood in my wee. And that was at 12 o'clock, and I was still feeling okay, other than the upset stomach was feeling fine. But obviously I had to cancel the lunch, got back into bed, and by 2 o'clock I was in hospital on a drip without IV antibiotics, having sort of gone into, they call it the riders, you shake uncontrollably and you're a bit delirious, scared. So that's how quickly it can take hold of me.
On the table at the moment, what would be a dream kind of care support? Because I just think the system's so broken, we can't be stuck within these boundaries of what is actually available. So take all of that away, how would you like to be supported?
I suppose it's just more individualised, isn't it? So when I first came out of hospital, we had the local authority rapid response team, who were brilliant, I have to say. They came out late at night, they came out 3 of the night sometimes if you rang them up and you needed them, they would just come within the hour. But of course that was only for a certain period of time. They could only provide care for 4 weeks until a contract was put in place with a private care agency.
So basically you would like some kind of rapid response so that when you needed somebody you could ring up.
Yeah.
So you don't
or you could, like a takeaway, you could book an hour in advance.
Like an Uber.
Just Eat.
Just Eat carer.
Just care. Yeah.
Just care. Should we do it?
I don't know how you would get it funded, really. You'd have to have an organisation like Just Eat who dealt with all that stuff with the restaurants.
Yeah.
And then, pay self-employed people to do it. I guess that's what you would have to.
And it's like they've got to be there within 30 minutes.
Yeah. Or they give you a time frame.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to go to bed at 11 o'clock tonight because I want to watch the last Happy Valley.
These are your options.
Yeah.
These are your care options.
Yeah. Just care.
I've only just thought about it, but why,
I think there's something around what you said earlier around that skill set. I mean, I couldn't do it. I'd hold my hands up. I couldn't. But clearly there's people who are much better humans than me that can. But it's a case of, how do we find them and what would you recommend in terms of...
It's a real issue, isn't it? Because if we look at how we value people in our society, how do we value people in our society? We pay them.
Yeah.
So actually, if you're paying somebody minimum wage to do a job, or just above minimum wage if they're self-employed or whatever, 12, 13 pounds an hour, you're probably not going to get the most talented people doing those kind of jobs, really.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of carers who are really naturally good at it, and naturally their mums, they've got a bit of life experience. And I don't think you have to be a mum and you have to have lots of life experience and stuff like that. But you do need to have a level of understanding and maturity about what it must be like. And therefore, is it an entry level? So I've also got a couple of carers who probably left school and did it.
Right.
They're good in their own way because they come in and they do it and they're really quick and they are you're done. Okay. And don't get me wrong, they're caring when they do it.
Yeah.
But it's very much like this feels like, yeah. And don't get me wrong, there's something about that which I quite like actually. Whereas the other two are just a bit more caring in a sort of maternal way.
Right.
And that's nice to see. So it's a real balance, I think. So I think you have to recognise the type of demography, the type of people that you are going to get who are willing to do that kind of work and try and recruit from those sort of areas. So, return this to the labour market. One of the great things, I suppose, is the flexibility of hours.
Yeah.
You can work it around your care responsibilities at home. Although I think they have to work long hours and they do miss out on a lot of the stuff that the kids do because
the hourly rate's so bad.
Well, no, because of the timings as well.
Yeah.
If you think about my care, well, I want it between 8 and 10 in the morning, so school runs late.
Yeah.
I want it at tea time, so actually being home with your kids at school at tea time is hard, and kids' bedtime.
Yeah.
You have to have that certain flexibility to do it. You need to think about what the motivation is for doing it. And that, again, I suppose, can be a bit contradictory. You're kind of looking for a few unicorns, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
So you're looking for those people who've got the values and the person skills to be able to do it. But you also need people who've got the flexibility to sort of go, yeah, I can do it at 8 in the morning, I can do it at 8 at night.
Yeah.
And somewhere in between.
Well, few and far between, really. For the pay that they're getting. Good luck to me.
Well, I mean, we have it because we're trying to, obviously we've got the youth hub, trying to support young people into work, and you're always told, aren't you? There's loads of jobs in health and social care, but young people don't do that.
Yeah.
My carers who have done it for a few years and probably did it straight from school, like I said, they're young people. They don't want to be going out at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night to put me to bed any more than I want them to do it.
Yeah. It's broken, is what I'm learning. It's really broken.
It is. It's not easy. It's not an easy fix.
No. Although, just care.
But even that wouldn't be an easy fix, would it? Because it isn't just an Uber driver, is it? It isn't just a delivery guy. You would need to have somebody who... Well, there will be people out there, the older ones, sort of middle-age sort of women, because there's not much... Nowadays, there's not much heavy lifting. It is a physical job, I think.
Yeah.
You need to have be able to do physical stuff, but it's not a heavy job anymore because they won't let you do it.
Right. So there's a lot of aids and stuff now, so it's not...
Well, if somebody's too much, then the carers have to go back to the agency and the social work assessment has to be done, and the thing has to be, but it's not ideal.
Yeah.
So, at one point they were looking at whether I needed a hoist to get myself in and out of bed when I was really sick.
Yeah.
And it wasn't possible. And that's another part of the system that doesn't work, by the way.
Oh, really? So you needed a hoist, but you couldn't get one?
Stacey and I have had 2 occupational therapist assessments done on our house. We both go out to living. We both earn a decent wage, I'd say. And we were told that we needed this, 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 and this, and that the total cost of would be 16 grand or whatever. And then when they found out that we both earned more than 12 grand a year, we had more than 12,000 pounds coming into the house, we weren't eligible for any support with those costs.
Joking.
So they would put in equipment which was under £1,000, which is probably the stuff that we could probably afford to do anyway.
Yeah.
But anything over that, they wouldn't do. You have to do it yourself.
But it's not actually, it's helping the carers, not you as well, isn't it? That doesn't matter.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Why?
Because we go to work. Now, what is quite strange about that is I don't pay for my carers.
Okay.
Because I work. So there's a loophole. So you have to pay for all the adaptations and all that stuff in your house. But actually, because I work all the time, that's not chargeable income. I don't understand it, but basically that's what we were told.
But actually, if you gave up work,
I'd have to pay.
you'd be able to get all the adaptations.
Get all the adaptations, but we'd have to contribute to the care.
But you'd have to contribute to the care, blimey. It's a messed up system.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. There's no flexibility in it, isn't it? It probably works for the majority of people, but it's just that we're a bit weird.
Yeah, you are weird.
Yeah. No, it's true, we are.
Aren't we all?
We book the system.
Yeah, but then there's no flexibility to be able to support you. But actually, what as a society we want is for you to be working as long as possible because you're contributing, you're doing a really important job.
Yeah.
Not even about the money, it's the fact that what you're adding to the world.
Yeah, at a very base level, tax and national insurance.
Yeah.
We pay.
Yeah. Ugh. I need a happy note to finish on, Joe. It's too depressing how broken the system is. Tell me a happy story.
So the happy story is actually, without that care, I wouldn't be going to work. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't have been recovered. I wouldn't have recovered in the same way.
Yeah.
And actually, mine and Stacey's relationship is stronger because of that.
Yeah, because she's not got to support you so much.
She wouldn't have been able to do it. And, we're a bit at odds because I would like to get rid of them to a certain extent.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
Yeah.
She likes the fact that actually we've got people there.
Yeah. And then if something does go wrong, there's systems in place to prevent like mental health almost, and that worry, it takes some of that anxiety away.
And the other thing is, I think the kids see me still going to work.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's really, really important. So what they see is they see good people coming in to care for me. I think he got really upset when he realised that they weren't doing it for free.
Oh, yes.
They were being paid to do it. And I found it quite an odd response.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I just assumed that they would get it. He was like, why wouldn't they want to come and see us? Why wouldn't they want to come and get you? And of course it did, but actually it's quite an important lesson, I think, for him to learn that actually the world of work, you can do lots of things, but it's also that this kind of stuff can enable somebody like me to be able to go out and earn a living. And they'll bring home money so they can do nice stuff.
Yeah. I like that. That's a good note to end, Jay.
I can always try and find a positive.
I'm a very optimistic person. I remember talking to you when you were like having this decision, which is still ongoing, but you were still really positive about it. And it's like, well, if I don't have it, I could potentially die. If I do have it, I could potentially die. There's not many good options there, Joe, but you were still really optimistic about it. That is one of your other superpowers.
Yeah, well, you've got to be, haven't you? You've got to hope for the best, haven't you?
Yeah, although Joy would say hope for the best, but plan for the worst.
Well, it's true. In this case, the worst is not very nice. But
Just keep hoping for your best.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Curious Chats and Kind Acts. It was lovely to have you. Can I just say a massive thank you to all the people that we've interviewed who have been so honest and vulnerable with me so that we can have these real life stories to share with you, our wonderful listener. And remember, we'd love to hear what random or small acts of kindness you've been up to so that we can maybe do a few. Find us on all the socials, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our /ActsGB, that's ACTSGB. And drop a comment on our feed, tweet us, or even send a photo. Let's build our kindness community together. We'll read some of our favourites on future episodes of Curious Chats and Kind Acts. And you never know, we might even have a go at a few of your ideas ourselves. Watch this space on the socials. For more information about the Acts charity, including how to donate to us, head to actsonline.uk. See you next time!